Hey y'all, happy Independence Day for my fellow Americans out there. And if you're not American, happy 4th of July. It is our nation's birthday. It is 244 years old as of today, I believe. So I just got back from watching the fireworks at Kings Island. I live near there, so that's usually where we go for fireworks every year. And I was thinking about a couple things while I was standing out there watching the rockets' red glare. Several years ago, my wife and I went to Charlottesville, Virginia, and we went by train. Actually, we took the Amtrak from Cincinnati to Virginia, Charlottesville, which is quite an experience in and of itself, but another story for another day. So we got to Charlottesville and we took an Uber to the car rental place. We decided to pick up a car so we could get around easier on the weekend. We get in the Uber and we start talking to the driver, and it turns out this guy was a cardiothoracic surgeon, of all things. Yep. So he was from somewhere far east, I believe, like Pakistan maybe, or like somewhere like the southern part of the Asian continent. I think maybe it was Pakistan, I don't know. But either way, so this guy was an open heart surgeon, but for whatever reason, his medical licensing and stuff did not transfer to the US. So he is an Uber driver now half the time. And his wife, who's a pharmacist, has him come in and help her out the other half of the week in her pharmacy. So he's a 50-50 pharmacy tech and Uber driver. And asked the guy how he felt about it, he said, "I love it. It's great. I love it here. America's the best." He would rather be a cardiothoracic Uber driver than a cardiothoracic surgeon. A few years ago, I also went to Anaheim. I went to LA for work, and I had an Uber driver come pick me up to take me back to the airport on the way home. And he was missing one of his arms from like the elbow down. His arm was missing, amputation, I guess. And I got talking to the guy, and it turns out he was an Iraqi national. This guy was actually born in Iraq, of all places. And he served in the first Gulf War on the wrong side. So apparently he enlisted when he was, I think, in his 20s, and it was involuntarily recalled back to service in his 30s for the Gulf War, right? So when the U.S. invaded Kuwait, he was there, running in the opposite direction, basically from Kuwait back to Iraq. When we came and pushed Iraq out of Kuwait and liberated Kuwait. So I got to talk to the guy a little bit more, and I said, "So what brought you here and what are you doing?" He said, "I came here for the opportunity. I drive Uber during the day, and at night I'm taking IT classes." I've been in IT for like 15 years now, right? So I said, "Are you kidding me?" It's like, man, I'm getting so tired of this field. Personally, Phil, I'm getting tired of IT. I've been doing it for so long, but man, he was so fired up. This guy's probably in his 50s, maybe early 60s, and yeah, he was so fired up to be driving Uber during the day so he could take IT classes at night, and he can't wait to finish his IT certifications so he can go out and get a job doing computer repair and desktop support. He said, he couldn't be happier. Like, he comes from a war-torn country, and the opportunity here is just so much, much, much more greater than what he would have back in Iraq. So I thought it was just a really cool couple of stories. And personally, I think America is the best country in the world, right? I mean, is it perfect? No, absolutely not. I mean, racism exists. Systemic racism is out there. It exists. Black lives do matter. Our healthcare system is a train wreck. The U.S. spends more per capita on healthcare on its people than any other developed nation in the world. And yet still, there's like 30 million people that have no insurance. I mean, can you even imagine, like, I'm a parent, can you even imagine having to decide between eating food and getting medicine for your kid, or being afraid that with one illness that your family's financial future is going to be wiped out? I cannot imagine living with that kind of fear and dread, So, I mean, it's just silly. Oh, and raise your hand if you're excited about the election in November. When was the last time you voted for a president that you actually liked, instead of voting against a president that you really, 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 really didn't like, right? So we have some things to fix. And I don't want to get on the soapbox here, but we've got to do better, and we can. And ultimately, the way to do that is to vote in November, but what can we do in the meantime? So if you look in the Bible, Matthew 22, Jesus tells us to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your mind, with all your soul. And after that, here's the kicker. He says to love your neighbors as yourselves. And I got to tell you, looking on the news and on the internet, with protests going on and, people getting dragged from their cars and people getting run over and people getting guns drawn on them, it seems like we don't have a lot of loving our neighbors as ourselves going on these days, right? So I know it's an election year and tempers are running high and feelings are running high. But we can be a little more civil to each other, right? Can't we? We can talk to each other, listen, try to understand someone else's point of view instead of just writing them off as pure evil because they believe differently than you do. We can think twice before we go share something on social media just to try to assassinate the character of somebody whose political affiliation may be different than yours, right? And I'm guilty of that too, right? I'm the worst. If you look at my Twitter feed, I share all sorts of crazy stuff on there that I probably shouldn't, So there's room for all of us to improve, We need to be mindful that we can improve. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I do not have a lot of faith in our government. I just don't. It's huge and it's bloated, and it doesn't seem to work for any of us, really. I mean, and what the heck are they doing if they're not working for us, But tell you what, I do have faith in America. I do have faith in us. But we gotta stop standing around pointing fingers at each other and blaming everyone else for our problems, right? And we gotta stop letting other people tell us how to think. We gotta stop letting ourselves get divided over stuff. We gotta sit down, and figure this stuff out together. We're all in it together. Rich, poor, black, white, brown, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, even Green, Socialist, whoever, right? So let's just sit down and figure this stuff out. Try to help each other out. I appreciate you listening to my Independence Day ramblings this year. Stay healthy, stay safe, and God bless America. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.